Welcome to Rude Tuner's Arcade, guys. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to talk about the Sony State of Play that they had September 24th, 2024, and it just finished about an hour ago. And I feel like they played it a little too safe. I mean, it's not their worst showing, but it could have been definitely better. So today we're going to take a look at some of the games, and we're going to address what they did well, where they kind of dropped the ball, and part about them playing it safe with the PlayStation 5 Pro. Because definitely right now in the community, the PlayStation 5 Pro is a hot topic. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So the show starts off with Astrobot, and definitely that is the face of the franchise now. I guess the days of Crash Bandicoot is far gone, but I mean, Astrobot's pretty cool. This game was actually did very well, and a very fun game, very animated, loved by a lot of people. And they're giving you basically 5 more online speedrun maps, which there's definitely an audience for that. People love speedruns. And on top of that, they're giving you 10 more bots that you can rescue. And this, from what I've seen here, is a free add-on that they're doing. So it's totally free. And at least my understanding of that just by watching the show. And it's going to be available at the end of the year, sometime in the fall. So I'm thinking maybe like, I don't know, November time frame. So we'll see. But that was a pretty good, strong start from Sony, in my opinion. Next up, we had the Midnight Walk. And this game, I guess it has some VR elements. I don't know if it's a full-blown VR game, but it does say VR compatible. And it kind of gave me the vibes of Claymation meets Night Before Christmas kind of thing. And it did have some cool looking features, but I didn't really understand what the game was about. But I will give them A for effort with the whole Claymation look. That's something that you don't see too often. So it looked okay. I mean, I just need more information on the game, but not terrible. So next up was Hell Is Us. And this game right here, it was I can't really call it a Souls game because it didn't look like it had Souls combat mechanics. But what it did have was beautiful graphics. The gameplay did look a little slow, and the story was kind of, I guess you have to really get into the story because it looked like it had elements of modern day when they show the guy, and then he has gadgets and stuff like that. But it looked like you're playing either in the demonic world or some type of place where technology just isn't rampant like today. Like, I don't expect to see any cars or anything there. So I didn't know what to make of this game. I feel like it's standard for action, action adventure game, but I don't know if it's really gonna, blow the roof off or anything like that because there's so many games like that in that genre. So, but like I said, it was okay. It didn't look terrible. Graphics were good, but the gameplay, I might have to see a little bit more of it to make a hard decision on it. Next up, we have Metro Awakening VR, and this is based off the book Metro 2023 and all the games they had back in the day, Metro series. And it's a VR game, and they're kind of VR heavy. I think this is a couple of VR games they've had already, and I feel like this one right here, it looks like a pop-up or a pop-out scary shooter kind of thing. Didn't look bad. I mean, sometimes VR games can look really bad, but this one didn't look too bad. I mean, basically, if you're familiar with the Metro series, this might be up your alley if you're into VR. But again, nothing like breathtaking where it's gonna knock your socks off, but still a solid showing. Our next game on the list is Arch-Age Chronicles. It's coming out next year sometime. And this game right here is another action platform game. I don't want to say really Devil May Cry aspects because I didn't see nobody get knocked up in the air and doing multi-combos. However, it did play a lot faster, in my opinion, than Hell Is Us when we looked at that one. This one looks like it has a little more meat to it as far as the combat system. Also, one thing that was cool about it, it takes place in the medieval times with magic and stuff like that. So if you're a fan of that era, it looks like this one might be a fun game to play. I mean, the graphics look pretty good on it. The movement looks fluid and smooth, so it might be something you're into. I will definitely take a look at this one. I do like these kind of games, but again, playing it safe, nothing that really blows your hair back, but this game looked somewhat interesting. Next up, we got Power World, and obviously, if you haven't played Power World yet, you could have played it on the Xbox or the PC. It's been out since earlier this year, but it was a very nice surprise for it to drop suddenly. I mean, at least I was surprised for it to drop for the PlayStation platform available today. Also, just a side note, I know I read somewhere in a few places that Nintendo is kind of, having a lawsuit with the resemblance of Power World and Pokemon, but apparently, it's not big enough yet to stop it from coming out on the PlayStation. So that's a good thing. People on PlayStation owners will get a chance to experience this game if they choose to do so. But again, not a big surprise because we already played this game before on other platforms, but still a nice touch to have on the PlayStation platform. Now here's the part where we get into where the experts basically, and a lot of other content creators called this, that there were going to be quite a few remasters being shown today, and one of them up now is Lunar Remastered Collection. Now if you played this game for the PlayStation 1 back in the day, it's an excellent, series of games. The one thing I will point out though with the remaster is what seems like happened here, and we'll get to another game that some people feel like have been remastered too soon. Okay, and this particular remaster here, now for guys like me who are a little older and played the PlayStation 1 version, a remaster is always great because if you like that game. However, for new people who've never played this game before, for them it's just like whatever. So you do turn off the audience sometimes with remasters of older games. Now Lunar is a popular game, but it might not be as popular to somebody who's probably that probably was born in the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, or PlayStation 3 era, I should say, back in the mid 2000s. So that's a double-edged sword. But I was happy to see Lunar Remastered Collection, but it might not have that same effect with a younger viewer or a younger player. So just keep that in mind. But I was excited to see this game come out. So one of the cooler things, I like old school, this is kind of a newer game, but it still has that old school retro feel, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, and it came out with a couple of DLCs. First of all, I'm going to say, if you don't have this game or you haven't played it, definitely give this one a playthrough. It is a very, very nice game. Next, we saw Sonic X Shadow Generations, and they offered in celebration of the movie that's coming up, Keanu Reeves and a movie sound pack, and I don't know about that. Don't get me wrong, it's something, but it's Sonic is Sonic. And I'm actually a fan of Sonic, don't get me wrong, but it's Sonic, so not much more to say about that one. But if you like Keanu Reeves and looking forward to the movie, you got kids and you want to go see the movie, or if you want to go see it yourself, that's a good touch. But yeah, Sonic X Shadow Generations, what else can I say? So one of the refreshing things I was happy to see was Fantasian Neo Dimension. Now, I love JRPGs. I know they might not be as popular in some circles, but that's one of my favorite things to play, good old-fashioned JRPG. And also has a stock feature, basically saying we can have from what I understood it to be, all your people can hold their attacks, stock them up, and then fire on the enemy at once. That's a pretty cool feature. But what makes this thing awesome is the music is composed by Nobu Umetsu himself. Now I probably butchered his name, but basically all you need to know is as the Final Fantasy guy, makes all the music for Final Fantasy, and well, for most games. There are a couple of games that he didn't make the music for, but enough said. If you know anything about Final Fantasy and their music, you know this guy's name. So next up we had BioWare showing one of their games, Dragon Age The Veilguard Guard, and that's supposed to release next month, the end of next month, 2024. Now, if you are a fan of Dragon Age, for me, I'm going to be honest with you, I got a little giddy with this one. This one right here, this game, with the exception of one more, probably stole the show for me, Dragon Age. It basically showcased, if you're a fan of magic and a fan of elves and different humanoid race classes, epic dragon fights, and I have to point out, I can't play it on this video because of maybe copyrights. I don't want to have the copyright struck down, but I will say, the music, if you get a chance, go back and check this one out and just listen to the music during the battle scene. Graphically, I didn't see a lot of hitches and slowdowns in the game. It just, and I know it might have been just a cutscene, but it actually looked, the total package of what a game like this should be. And it's coming out, before the year's end. I think I want to say October for this one. I can't remember, but this one is definitely on my radar, and we'll be playing this one day one guaranteed. So keep your eyes peeled for Dragon Age. This is going to be, BioWare, they always have great games, and this is going to be another one of their smash hits in their catalog of games. Next up, we got Alan Wake 2, and basically it's just a DLC add-on with the Lake House. Alan Wake 2 was a good game, but it's just DLC we're seeing, which, if you're interested, definitely pick up the DLC if you're an Alan Wake fan. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this, but that's really all we got to say about Alan Wake. Good game, new DLC, pick it up if you're interested. So one of the games I was excited to see that I've heard, they did have maybe some kind of inside track, so we were kind of expecting it, was remastered Legacy of Kain series, also known as Soul Reaver. They didn't include the original though, Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, and that was one for the PlayStation 1. It plays different from the other ones. It's like an overhead view game. Definitely worth checking out if you're interested in the lore. But at the time, it was groundbreaking due to the fact that, you know, it had cutscenes and PlayStation 1 was still in their cutscene development. So they do definitely scream PlayStation 1, but still an overall good game. The newer ones, Soul Reaver, they had that for the PlayStation and Dreamcast, and Soul Reaver 2, of course. They also had, I don't know if these are included as well. I don't think so. Maybe Legacy of Kain, because they're calling them 1 and 2. But yeah, Legacy of Kain Defiance, and you had Blood Omen 2. So they might be in the game. I'm not sure. They weren't too clear, but definitely if you're a fan of the old school Soul Reaver games for the PlayStation 2, Dreamcast even had one. PlayStation 1 had one as well. And the Xbox, OG Xbox, definitely you want to give this one. I'll be picking this one up because I do remember playing the old games, and the storyline, the continuity between all 4 of the games was actually very well written. So if you're interested in old school Legacy of Kain series, known to some as Soul Reaver, definitely pick this one up. Fear of the Spotlight, I'm not going to pretend like I know what that is because I don't. I didn't play that. I guess it was an old throwback PS1 game. That one must have slipped under the radar. I don't know. Looks like a poor man's clock tower, maybe. I have no idea. So I don't know. Don't know what to say about that one. We're just going to skip that one because I can't really give you a fair assessment on it. So next up we had Towers of Agazba. I guess I said that right. Kind of looked like one of those, maybe like a simulation type game where you're planting stuff. Kind of had that Fable look to it, but I don't think it plays anything like Fable. Simulation games aren't really my thing. However, there is an audience for that. Don't really got enough information. The trailer was pretty short, so you know, take it with a grain of salt. Not really on my radar, but you know. And then they show like a Lego game. Legos, just not really my thing. I'm not really into Lego games. I know a lot of people are. They're cool looking, but I just feel like I liked them when they first came out, the old school Lego games. And they showed us a Fortnite controller. And I'm not gonna lie, that Fortnite controller looks sick. I can only imagine how much it's gonna cost, but it might become a collector's item later on. I don't know, but I mean, if I had a controller that looked that good, I'd be intimidated to even play on it. In fact, you know, just for the fact of ruining it. So the Fortnite controller did look sick. Next up, we had Dynasty Warriors Dynasty Warriors Origins, and what can I say? It's Dynasty Warriors. It looks good. Don't get me wrong. The game looks amazing, but at the same time, I do like you know, Dynasty Warrior type games. I liked it with you know, Zelda take on it. I did like I like the old school ones. They had back on the PlayStation 2 era, PlayStation 3 era. You know, Dynasty Warriors been around forever. They had the Hokuto Shinken Fist of the North Star versions, which was pretty good. So you know, they're always a fun time and a good time to play. So if you like Dynasty Warriors, you might want to pick this one up. I mean, for what it is, I mean, it's a fresh take on, I guess, Origins. It might go into the story, but I'm thinking you're going to see the usual suspects like Wu Fi and the infamous Lu Bu in there somewhere. So you know what to expect. No big surprises here. It's Dynasty Warriors. So basically, besides, with the exception of Dragon Age, this was probably my favorite in the whole show. Monster Hunter Wilds. If you're a fan of the Monster Hunter series, this one looks like you would expect. Totally amazing. It's got a release date February 28, 2025. Capcom knocked out the park with this one with the Monster Hunter series. They always do, and this one should be no exception. I mean, the graphics on this thing are breathtaking. The characters are probably in my opinion, this is my opinion only, probably from what we've seen so far, Dragon Age comes close, but I think graphically this is the best looking game that I've seen in this particular showcase. The gameplay is amazing. They do have, I'm sure they're going to add new features. I don't know what they are just yet, but I'm sure they're going to have new features. I do like the little characters that help you out. I mean, if you got any kind of heart at all, they are just straight up cute. I'm just gonna say it. They look cool. So they're gonna aid you in the battle. So this one right here, I know it's few months out, but definitely keep your eyes peeled for this one. I mean, it was expected to be shown at the show anyway, but this one looks really good, so don't sleep on this one, guys. Next up, we had Horizon Adventures Lego. Again, we already touched on the Lego games. If you like Legos and you like Horizon Adventures, hey, there you go. And next we got Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, coming to PS5 later next month. This was one where it's kind of a gray area. A lot of people feel like that we don't need a remastered version of Horizon Zero Dawn this soon. Now let's just take it for what it is. They did add a lot of you know, completely from the ground up voiceovers and stuff like that, improve the graphics, and they probably have a few more features in there. But I can't say that I'm really excited about this one. I mean, yeah, it is what it is, but it's no surprise we knew this was coming. Now this one right here, I'm kind of excited about Stellar Blade, and it's cool. I do enjoy some of the soundtrack. I do like that kind of, if you like J-pop kind of music, you know, that kind of sound. They have 180 songs, it looks like, or something to that effect, and you can stream them. Also, they're doing a Stellar Blade and Nier Automata crossover, which if you haven't played Nier series, Automata was very good. I'm not saying it right. Automata was real good. And also the original Nier, a lot of people sleep on that. The one that came out for the Xbox 360 back in the days, and they had a remake of it. Definitely play that game. I mean, it's not showcased here, of course, but definitely check that one out. So this was kind of a nice surprise, Stellar Blade. I mean, who doesn't like waifus? Waifus rock. And they close it out with showing the new PlayStation variations you can get. I mean, they look pretty cool, but at the same time, it's still a PlayStation 5 at the end of the day. Now, the elephant in the room is the PlayStation 5 Pro. They did show a few games at the end that we didn't see upscale, but it was so short. You know, it was clipped so short, you really couldn't experience it. You know, I feel like this is where probably where the whole presentation dropped the ball. You should have spent, in my opinion, more time addressing the PS5 Pro, and here's why. PS5 Pro, obviously, you know, unless you've been living under a rock, however you feel about it, it's been, you know, stirring quite the buzz in the gaming community. And with the majority of PlayStation fans, and not even PlayStation fans, just fans in general of gaming, are really pissed off about the price and feel like they're getting ripped off with, you know, a $700 price tag with no disk drive. And even if you watch the clip right here, it says you have to stand not included. So, I mean, that's up for debate. Depends on how you look at it, whether it's worth it or not. However, the fact remains that a lot of people are upset about it. And I'm looking at Mark Cerny here, and I just look on his face, and his face just says, get me out of this. Kill me now. Why do I have to cover this? Why do I have to, you know, basically everybody crapping on me right now. I mean, hey, that's part of the job, buddy. But yeah, his face just screams, somebody help me. But I feel like now the Tokyo Game Show is coming up soon. Maybe they're going to show it then, but with the system coming out next, you know, at the end of the year, in I think November, this would have been a prime time to address it and not just sweep it under the rug and act like this whole, you know, situation with people being pissed off about the PlayStation 5 Pro is not happening. It is happening. I mean, I think they could have took this time to address it in some way. Now, obviously, you're not going to just say, hey, it's not worth it. I don't expect them to say that. But at the same time, justify that price because people want some type of justification of that $700 price tag. So this was, I feel like this was a mark where they could at least, you know, took a little more time in the presentation, but they just kind of played it safe, showed it. Mark Cerny had to sit there and say the same thing he said, you know, at the last showing when they showed the PlayStation 5 Pro, and I can't say it was a good look. I think they could have did a lot more and did some damage control here, but and that was pretty much the presentation, guys. I mean, for the most part, like I said, it was a couple of, you know, glimmering moments of brilliance, you know, with Dragon Age and Monster Hunter, you know, maybe even Stellar Blade. If you like Stellar Blade, that was probably one of my favorites. But for the most part, I mean, I really feel like they just didn't show enough to really knock it out the park. They played it safe and they didn't address the PlayStation 5 Pro. That was the big thing I think a lot of people were waiting to hear about. And, you know, so I don't know, Sony, I think they need to do something because while they're not in a terrible position right now, you're coming off this big negative PR with the PlayStation 5 Pro and the massive failure of, you know, Concord, you know, and I've seen online people saying $400 million game. I don't know if that's true or not, but, you know, so Sony, you're starting to, you know, I know Sony's in a position right now where they're kind of undisputed. They're kind of, you know, beating Microsoft in this generation. But Microsoft is creeping up behind. I mean, they're starting to do a lot of things right and putting it together. And the Switch is kind of on its own thing. And Switch 2, you know, that's its own thing. So can't really compete with Switch. So basically, they're in the lead. But I feel like if they want to stay in the lead, they can't be doing stuff like this. So that's it for this one. But let me know in the comments, guys, what you thought about the PlayStation State of Play. If you enjoyed it, if you feel like they should have talked more about the PlayStation 5 Pro, you know, just let me know your comments down below, guys. Please rate, subscribe, and comment. As always, take care of yourself, protect your inner peace. God bless you, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.